So Paulo, thank you so much for accepting my invite. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bruno Freitas. I'm the CEO and founder of JBF Consulting. We provide support to PMO leaders in terms of PMO maturity assessment, PMO establishment, PPM tools implementation, training, coaching, and I have been leading PMOs myself as well, and today I support those PMO leaders across the world, and I'm very, very happy to have Paulo join me today. Paulo is a good friend of mine. I have known Paulo for many years, actually. We worked together in one of the PMI chapters back in Brazil. And that was many, many years ago. And now we both live in Canada, but in different cities. And Paulo is leading the PMO Global Alliance North America Hub. And I thought this would be a great conversation, Paulo. Last night, I just finished our PMO study groups, and we had many PMO leaders across the North America and South America mostly, right? And, some of the key takeaways we got was that we need this community of PMO leaders. There are many events, many opportunities, right, for project management professionals, but not as much for PMO leaders. Right, so it's nice to have this opportunity now to establish this community and discuss challenging solutions, exchange ideas with all the PMO leaders, and I think that's all the PMO Global Alliance is about, right? So very happy to have you today. I'm not going to try to introduce you, Paulo, because I might be missing a lot of your professional experience, your engagement with your PMI. So I'll turn this over to you now. Maybe you can introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more how you get engaged with PMI, with the PMO Global Alliance, and then I'll jump and ask you a few questions, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you for having me, Bruno. It's always awesome to talk about PMO GA, actually. So I'm an electrical engineer. I became a project manager back in 1998. And my first contact with PMI, for example, was with a company called Nortel Networks at the time. It was one of the largest telecommunications company in the world, and then it has had some issues and disappeared. But it was my first contact with project management and PMI. I'm a volunteer for PMI since 2004, and we are going to talk about it. But PMO GA was born in Brazil, so that's why I'm here actually. The founder, Americo Pinto, is a friend of mine as well since 2004, so I know him more than 20 years. And when PMI acquired PMO GA, he needed some help to kind of spread the word of PMO GA, and that's why I joined him on this challenge. So basically, that's it. I worked as a consultant here in Canada since 2009. I had many clients where I helped to implement some PMOs. Right now, I'm working for the city of Calgary, and we have a very solid PMO. And as far as we know, we are the only municipality in Canada that has a very corporate project management methodology and tool. So right now, all the corporate projects, more than 1,000 capital projects, are managed with this solution that we have. So we are living the PMO experience daily.
So Paulo, you spoke a little bit about the PMO GA, right? But for those of us who has no idea about what PMO GA is, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about what is the vision, what is the mission of the PMO GA, and how the North America Hub is being established, and what is the vision for the North America Hub as well?
I have a presentation, but I'll try to resume to summarize.
Okay.
The history. PMO GA was founded in 2017 in Brazil, and the vision was to create this community of project management office executives. Americo at the time was managing some project management offices as a consultant as well, and he noticed that within the PMI structure, we didn't have like a formal PMO focused group. So he created PMO GA, and he focused a lot on the Middle East, Europe, and South America before. So that's why In 6 years, I think he got more than 20,000 members in more than 100 countries, but North America. So, and that's why PMO GA right now it's spread all over the world, and we have our hub here in North America, and the vision of the hub is actually to promote PMO GA. So basically promote our PMO GA community online. The community is actually free and available for anyone. You don't need to be a PMI member or a PMO GA member. You don't need to belong to any organization. Anyone can join the PMO GA online community, because the idea is to attract more people and share experiences.
And Paulo, it's interesting. You're talking about how the PMO GA develop in many other places, but North America, right? And I think this reflects the number of events we have for PMO leaders in other parts of the world, but not as many here in North America, right? So, for example, just last week we had the Global Project Management Forum in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, right? And it was a big event. We had events in Spain this year as well. Early in the year, we had a big international project management forum in Dubai as well. And all these events now, these international project management conferences, they are, of course, they have sessions for project managers, but they also have sessions for PMO leaders, right? Which was something that was not happening before. Last year, I attended the PMO Unconference, right, which is now an event promoted by PMI as well. And that event was in Istanbul. So, of course, you didn't have many people from North America attending. We did have a few people here from Canada, some people from Brazil as well, and maybe other parts of South America, but definitely a lot more people from that side of the world, right? So it's interesting that there's a lot more things happening over there. When I'm one of the judging committee members for the PMO Global Alliance as well, and when you see the difference between the PMOs in the Middle East versus the PMOs in North America, you can see the difference in terms of structure, investment, and all those things, right? So it's interesting to see how PMOs have evolved more on that side of the world, but it's nice to know that now we have the hub to help us developing that, the best practice around PMOs here as well.
Yeah, we are really, really, really excited. Right now, actually, the hub is working on a business plan for our first North America Unconference. So it's we are putting together the business case. As soon as America approves it, we will have a date and a place. But we will have our first Uncon, PMO GA Uncon here in North America soon.
That's nice. That's nice. And for those of us who has, last year I attended the Uncon in Istanbul, as I said, great experience because it's not your typical conference that you just sit and listen to someone talking, right? You have an opportunity to interact with other PMO leaders, right? You have topics that you want to discuss and collaborate with others and present solution, exchange ideas. So it's definitely a different type of conference and very valuable to any PMO leader. So I definitely recommend anyone who is considering attending because it's a great experience. So Paulo, I want to come back to the North America hub conversation. I understand that we have a hub here in North America. We have hubs in other places of the world as well. So can you tell us more how this hub structure works and how you guys collaborate with each other as well?
Let me share my screen.
Yes.
I think it's better if I just show here. Can you see my screen?
We can see your screen. Yes.
Yeah, so we do have 8 hubs around the globe. North America, Latin America, Europe, MENA, Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, China, and Asia Pacific. So the way the PMO GA is structured actually is very interesting. So we have America, which is the founder. The blue boxes here are PMI consultants or employees. And talking about the hubs, we have our PMO GA community lead, which is Chanel. So Chanel is a PMI employee, and she is responsible for the interface between the volunteers, which are the orange structure, and the PMI global structure. as we know, PMI is a huge organization, so we have contacts with many different departments within PMI. Chanel is our interface. And the way that PMO GA is structured, we have 6 global leads. So those leads oversees all the 8 hubs. And then for each hub, we have our regional hub lead. For example, in North America, I am the North America regional hub lead. And we have 5 volunteers working with us. So we have the online experience lead with Michael. So Michael is responsible for the PMO GA online community. And anything online will be Michael's responsibility. And I can share the contacts at the end. And please, if somebody wants to help us and join us, feel free to contact us directly. We have Andres is our communication lead. So he's also here in the call with us. We have our community. So Andres is responsible for all the social media and communication from the chapter, right? So again, we have the global positions and the regional positions to kind of customize the content to, in our case, North America. Joe Camp is the community engagement lead. So he will take care of our volunteers. So anybody that wants to join us in this challenge to talk about PMOs in North America, can send us an email by now. We are going to use the official PMI tool to capture volunteers, the VRMS. But right now we are still structuring everything. So it's in the very beginning. So if somebody wants to join us, is more than welcome. And we are actually building the hub right now. So there is a lot of things. There are information. So Joe is the one that is going to be responsible to contact volunteers and manage volunteers to help all these other portfolios. We have Mary Reed. She is our lead for knowledge and learning. She's from Houston, in Texas. Oh, and just to say, Michael is in Canada. Andres is in LA. Joe is in Canada as well, in Toronto. Mary is in Houston. So Mary will take care of all the content. Yeah, Halifax, Nova Scotia. If a chapter, for example, is going to have an event about PMOs and needs somebody to help them to gather speakers or even to talk about PMO GA, Mary is the one that will organize this speakers database, if you will, and she will manage all the training and presentations for PMO GA for North America. And finally, we have Sayaka. She's our community outreach. So she's responsible for events. So for example, right now, she's helping to build this business case for the Uncon in North America. She's really engaged with PMI Global, PMI Regional, and the chapters to kind of put together this document, because the idea is to have this business case that we can replicate. So this year, if we can have a Uncon this year in North America, we are going to use this document, and the idea is to next year pick another location and have the same structure, basically, and replicate. This is our structure for North America.
That's excellent, Paulo. And I don't know if it's too early or too premature to talk about, Paulo, but what are the priorities for the North America hub, maybe for this year or for the next few years? Can you share a little bit of that?
Yeah, it's also in this presentation. So we do have 5 points that we need to talk about. So the first one is to promote the PMO GA online community. So you can find a lot of very interesting materials. Like if you are a beginner in the PMO world, there's a lot of videos, there's a lot of content on our online community. As I said before, you don't need to be a PMI member, you don't need to be a PMO GA member, and it's free. Like it's free to join, and it's free to access this material. Americo always published like state-of-the-art stuff there in terms of PMO. I would say all the webinars that he created is in there. So there's a lot of videos, a lot of content, materials about the PMO best practice guide. So that's the PMO GA online community. And if anybody has more questions, it's good that we have Mike here. He can help me to answer those questions about the PMO Online. This is Mike's baby. So we need to talk about and promote the PMI PMO Practice Guide. It's also a new standard from PMI. So, okay. Mike cannot speak. He can only chat. That's fine. So we have our practice guide that you, Bruno, has your study group on it. So the idea is to promote it more. As you know, it's a very hands-on and it's a different kind of guide from PMI because it actually tells you how to do stuff. So I think it's very useful. It's plug and play. It's very comprehensive. PMO GA did a very good job with volunteers to build this material. So we need to promote it. And talking about the practice guide, we need to talk about the exam. So another thing that we need to promote and focus right now on the PMO GA North America hub is the certification. As I mentioned before, we have a lot of professionals certified everywhere, but in North America. So it's a challenge, but at the same time, it's rewarding because it's a blank canvas for us. The other thing that we are promoting is the Global Award. So we have the PMO Global Award that the finalists will be known and the awards will be provided during the Global Summit in Phoenix this year. So it's another thing that we need to promote. And finally, but not least important, is our PMO Unconference, right? As you said, it's a different format. It's going to be the first one in North America. So we are very excited and working really hard to put this event in place. And this event will change from year to year. It's going to be in a different location in North America.
That's excellent, Paulo. And there's a lot of great stuff here, right? I'm part of the online community, and there's a lot of people already in that community, and it's nice to see the content being posted, right? We need more people to be more active on that community as well. But it's awesome. And you mentioned that it's free, right, Paulo? So do you have any statistic that says, the background of those folks who are part of the online community today? Is there anything that you can share about the demographics of the members today?
That's what is nice about the online community. The spectrum is from beginners, professionals that never heard about PMO and are just curious, to very experienced and award winners, PMO leaders. I would say most of the global PMI GA global award winners are in our community, and they share their experiences. They share. You can have access to the submissions, like the presentations that they did for the award. So there is a lot of practical and up-to-date content in the online community.
And I can see that Mike already post the link here, and he's saying it's free, anyone can join. That's great, right? It's a great incentive as well. So you don't need to be necessarily a PMI member to join that, right? And the other thing that you were mentioning is the PMO Practice Guide, right? So I don't know how many people on the call had a look on the PMO Practice Guide, but as I mentioned at the beginning, we just finished one study group, and it's really powerful because you find lots of information for project managers, but not as much for PMO leaders, right? And it's nice how the PMO Practice Guide helps you to shift your PMO from a compliance reporting / administrative unit to a more value-driven unit, right? I think the community did a great job in putting that study guide or that practice guide together. Of course, as anything, right? It was I think the second version, right? We had one before that was issued by PMO Global Alliance, and now we have one issued by PMI, and of course there will be more versions and more enhancements, but I think it's a great starting point for anyone who wants to really change the path for your PMO, or maybe your PMO is not doing great, and you might be afraid that your PMO might be shut down at some point. I would definitely recommend you to take a look at the PMO Practice guide as a way for you to come up with new ideas on how you can establish a roadmap for your PMO to shift the path and make your PMO a more valuable asset for your organization. All right. So, Paulo, I'll jump here. And as I said at the beginning, friends, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand or just type them here in the chat and I'll ask Paulo. But for now, I'll continue with my questions. So, Paulo, you mentioned that there will be the PMO Uncon, right, which will be a big event, I believe it's going to be an in-person event, right? But in the meantime, will there be any online events, any webinars, or small events being promoted by the hub that people can join and start learning more about the hub and learning more about what the PMO Practice guide is about?
As I mentioned before, like our hub is still on formation, so we do have some initiatives. For example, the first thing would be, so the hubs, they are not physical entities. Like we don't exist legally, right? So we are connected to PMI Global, but the chapters are still the main point for contact for members, for PMI members. So the chapters will deliver events and stuff, and PMO GA, the hub, we will support the chapters, we work with the chapters. We have a very good example of this, like the South Florida chapter is going to have a PMO summit next month. So in our case, Joe Campa will kind of introduce PMO GA for them and work with the chapter to bring them some content from PMO GA, like the official content. He's probably going to touch the practice guide. So that will be the first thing, working with the chapters. And the challenge is we have actually 154 chapters in North America. So you can imagine how much work is going to be to talk with each one of them. And we are trying to do that. We are trying to contact them and say, okay, the PMOGA hub now exists. Here are the volunteers. Here are the names that you need to contact from the 6 of us to start this conversation with the chapters, right? So the first point of contact will be via the chapters. We do have some webinars planned. Mike, as the online lead, will be responsible to organize. And okay, there you go. He's saying, look at the PMOGA community. And we do need volunteers to help us to actually run the hub, but also give content. So if you are a speaker on PMO and want to join us, please do so. We need more hands to help us. We need more people to help us to spread the word on PMO GA and the PMO best practices. So if you have a content, Renato, I see you. Yeah, welcome, join us, come. And we do need more people to help us to spread the word and help us with the content.
That's excellent. And I echo what you said, Paul, about the PMO, the PMI chapters, right? Trying to bring more information about the PMO GA and the PMO Practice Guide, and more conversations or more topics for PMO leaders in their events and the conferences as well. I have been speaking to a couple PMI chapters here in Canada as well, and we have been, delivering sessions about PMO and value-driven PMOs, and what the PMO Practice Guide is about, and all those things. So it's nice to see that there are more chapters interested in that, right? I still attend many PMI conferences, but we miss out an opportunity to engage the PMO leaders as well. We need to exchange ideas. We need to have that support system so we can help each other as well. So it's nice to hear that the PMI chapters can facilitate that to happen in collaboration with the North America Hub.
If you join PMO GA, there is a channel for each one of the hubs. So you can join, for example, the PMO GA South America Hub, and all the leads are there. Like we are all there. So when you go to PMOGA online and join the North America Hub, you get in touch with us with hub leads. If you are anywhere else, just join the PMO GA online community and search for your region channel. We are actively there, posting, talking to people. So talk to us. That will be the official channel to reach to us.
So Paulo, if let's say some of us don't like to do public speaking, right? Are there other opportunities, or will there be other opportunities that we can help the PMO GA as well?
Oh yeah, as I said, we are preparing the structure of the hub. So we do have some ideas, like a local, because not everybody will be available to go to Uncon in, let's say, San Diego, right? So, but you are still interested in PMO and you want to talk about PMO in your city. If there is a PMI chapter in your city, that means we can get to you with PMO content. So one of the things that we are planning to do is having this locally promoted by a chapter PMO event. And again, PMO GA will be behind it, providing content, speakers, helping to organize that. But it's going to be a small subset of events from the local chapter because, as you mentioned, the local chapters are really busy with project management in general. And PMO is like a subset, a subgroup, like we are a subgroup of the larger PMI community, right? So instead of the chapters trying to find content and trying to find speakers, the idea is that we come with this content for them. This is one of the initiatives. So you don't need to speak, but you can help us to organize these things. And again, the idea is to have a project plan. We are all project managers at the end of the day, right? So we need to have a project plan to make it, to replicate this kind of event anywhere. And again, we are talking to replicate in at least 164 locations. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of work. I cannot emphasize this more than it's a lot of work, and we need hands to help us to deliver these things.
It's a great idea, Paulo. I really like the idea of having these in-person meetups as well, right? I was talking to a friend of mine in Europe. He was saying, "Oh, we're going to have a PMO meetup here." I forgot. I think it would be in Germany next week. And it's nice because they are getting together and to talk about PMO topics, right? And I think in Saskatchewan here in Canada, they do have a group of PMO leaders as well that get together on a regular basis and talk about challenges or opportunities or just want to network, right? And learn from each other what they are doing for the PMO. So I think that's a great opportunity for us to get out of the online space and get together as well to continue those conversations. That's really nice. And I like your idea to have.
As I mentioned, we have a large spectrum of members or interested parties in PMOs. So we need to take care of the beginners, but we also need to take care of the experienced and I would say executives on PMOs. So in the past here, we had the PMO, it was a PMO event by invitation only. So it was like a VIP event. That's another thing that we are trying to bring it back because it was before COVID and before PMO GA and PMI fusion. So it's something that we used to have and PMI Global used to help us with that. So now PMO GA will do that role. And the idea is to have these locally events where PMO executives are invited personally to join. So it's going to be like a 15, 20 group of people getting together to actually talk deep and having this network, like deep network between PMO executives. So we are trying to have something for everybody, right? So I would say that the invitees for these kind of events would be the executives that cannot go to the Uncon because they cannot travel all the time. So we have something locally for them.
Okay, no, that's excellent, and I look forward to it, Paul. So, Paul, I'll shift the gears a little because we are talking a lot about the North America hub. So, I just wanted to get some of your thoughts on what's happening in the PMO space today, right? Or what the trends you see that are going to be important for PMOs going forward to continue relevant, right? Do you still believe that the PMOs are very much compliance units or administrative reporting units? And how do you see that shifting towards to perhaps more customer-centric, value-driven units as the PMO Practice Guide promotes?
Yeah, as I mentioned, the PMI PMO Practice Guide is very relevant and up to date. So I would say we always use these keywords like value-driven PMO and strategic PMO. Like the PMO needs to be connected to the strategic group of the business, right? Because that's when you actually really deliver value. I can give an example of the city of Calgary. Like the PMO is really connected with the capital planning, like to make sure that the projects we deliver actually are delivering the value that the citizens are expecting. So it's not just project management, it's the program management and the portfolio management and the strategic management of the business overall. So and I would say that's why I like about the practice guide, because it covers everything, right? So how to establish custom focus driven PMO and how to improve it over time. So if you don't know the PMO practice guide, you have to read it. As I mentioned, they have like 10 steps that you can use today.
So Paulo, for those of us, I'm assuming that some people here might be aspiring PMO leaders. Some of us might be experienced PMO leaders. Some of us might be, new PMO leaders as well. So do you have any recommendations on how we should go about establishing or resuscitating a PMO? If you are a new PMO leader today, Paulo, what will you do differently to make sure that your PMO is a value-add asset for your organization?
I would say the first step is to understand your stakeholders, right? You need to talk to your stakeholders, have work sessions with them and understand their requirements. Because again, as a client of the PMO, you need to know what they want. I would start from there, make sure that we are delivering what the stakeholder wants. And so we need to know who they are and what they want and build the PMO from there. I think in the past we used to talk about, I'm going to implement this type of PMO, right? The best practices doesn't mention any type of PMO because, again, it depends on what stakeholders or your organization wants. So I would say the first step would be that understand the stakeholders, understand that you want, and then again follow the flywheel and come up with the services that you can provide and how to measure those services over time, and always improve your PMO.
What about let's say the adoption of AI tools to support the support PMOs today, right? I know there's a lot of conversations about, we need AI here, we need AI here, right? And some of those organizations are rushing, right, that AI adoption a little bit, and we need to do something because everybody else is doing it, right? So what has been your experience recommending or suggesting how PMO should be adopting AI tools to support the work that the project managers do and to support the the data or the insights that the organization need as well?
I would say is starting with the end user, with the project managers. Like the recommendation would be if you are a PMI member, PMI have a very nice AI tool called Infinity. I don't know if everybody here knows about Infinity, but for example, to help you to create business cases, project plans, it's all PMI's knowledge database in there. So when you use PMI Infinity, you are actually accessing the whole PMI knowledge. Everything from projectmanagement.com, everything from the standards, everything that PMI knows, Infinity knows. So all the best practice are there, including PMO GA. Like the PMO GA content is now part of Infinity as well. So if you make any questions to Infinity related to PMOs, it will answer to you based on the best practices. So that will be the first thing for users. And for PMO, like to prepare the infrastructure, I can say something that we are using right now. We are using Copilot agents. So you can train Copilot agents, right? So we are creating these Copilot agents within our environment. So it's confined with our data. And project managers or PMO, they can make questions to the agent related to any of the standards or methodology that we have, our templates, specifically to our organization. The agents can have access to databases. So as I mentioned before, we have a corporate project management system, and we have more than 1,000 project data in there, like from even from financial data, like forecasts, budget, spend rate, it's all there. And with the Copilot engine, if you build it right, it can actually substitute your, for example, if you have a BI tool like Power BI, you can use Power BI with the agent and give you the, it's so freaking easy to use once it's done correctly. So project managers, executives can just query or make questions to the agent, and it's there. So that will be the two things, like to the end users and to the PMO. End users, I would say Infinity and Copilot engine agents, and for the PMO, Copilot agents.
No, that's all excellent information. I can see Mike is furiously providing or sharing all those links. So thanks, Mike, for helping me here. I truly appreciate that. So Paulo, I do have another question, right? So we talk about, if I'm establishing a PMO today, what are the things that I have to do? And you mentioned, listen to your customers and make sure that you follow the flywheel in the PMO Practice guide, and you are delivering your service, you're monitoring your service, and you are always improving. So I really like that. On the other hand, right, what would be those things that you have seen that are really killing PMOs today, right? And you would say, please, if you are doing this, just stop doing it because it's not helping you out.
It's bureaucracy. Like some people still think that PMOs are about templates and asking project managers to fill in templates and follow up on the wrong tasks, I would say. Yes, we need to have some governance and we need to have some documentation, but don't turn your PMO into just like, it's more work for me as a project manager. Now I have this PMO structure that I have to manage my project and I need to report on them, and I spend, 30-40% of my time just filling in things for the PMO, right? If you have that kind of experience, stop again, go back on the flywheel. Don't invent the wheel again. We have the flywheel to help you. Use the PMO flywheel from the PMI best practices and go back to step number one. Identify your stakeholders, talk to them, because you may be generating documentation or you may be asking for information that nobody will use at the end of the day. So stop. That will kill your PMO.
Yes, that's so well said, Paulo. I was talking to a few other PMO leaders, and I think we had this conversation last night in the study group as well. And it was interesting because people are looking at all these frameworks that exist out there, right? And they are not thinking about how I'm going to tailor those frameworks to what makes sense for my organization, right? I just have to do whatever those frameworks say, right? And sometimes they pay big money to, for consulting firms to come and, I have all these big maturity assessment model here, and you need to do all those things, right? And then they start implementing all those things, right? Or they are so overwhelmed with the number of things that they are missing that they decide to not do anything. So the lack of action is another problem. But, it's interesting because they start implementing so many controls and templates and stage gates and all that stuff. And then you come to them and you ask them, okay, so what is the risk that you're trying to mitigate here? And they cannot even articulate those risks that well. This framework told me that I have to do this, so then I implemented it. Okay, but why are you doing it, right? And what is the value that you're getting out of it, right? And sometimes they cannot articulate, right? Or sometimes they can come up with a risk, but what is the likelihood of that risk happening, right? And maybe, it's hard for me to tell you. So maybe it's a good idea to stop and just see what happens if you don't do it, right? So I really like the angle you are taking to make your processes a little bit more agile and more aligned with what your PMO customers are looking for.
Yeah, and another point that is really important to have like a successful PMO or a PMO implementation is we always talk about the executive sponsorship, right? You need to have a very strong sponsor in your organization that understands the objectives of having a PMO. And I can tell by this next experience as a consultant here at the city, we have a very strong high-level executive that understands why we need a PMO, and he makes the right questions based on data. For example, if a project manager is not entered the minimum data requirement, like what is the budget and how is your spent in the system, it will flag for the executive, and he will get out and ask, oh, why this project is not entering data. It's important to have that sponsor because that person will help you. You can have a wonderful PMO, but if you don't have a high-level executive supporting you and giving you power to work, that will make everything way more difficult.
The executives, at least most of them, based on my experience, they don't care as much about the traditional project management metrics that we like to measure, right? How many projects we deliver on budget, how many projects we deliver on time, right? I think they care a lot more about what is the value that I'm getting out of this project, right? If this project is supposed to be attracting more revenue for my company, are we on track to attract that additional revenue? And if we are not, maybe we should have additional conversation, right? If this project is supposed to be, reducing employee turnover or improving customer satisfaction, are we on track to enable that business outcome, right? And if we're not, maybe it's a good idea to stop, right? And I think that's, a conversation that the PMOs can facilitate as well, instead of just, creating reports with traditional project management metrics that perhaps the executives don't care about. And of course, I have asked a bunch of questions here, and I'm going to open the floor to our friends who are in the call, Paulo, so they can ask questions as well. So, folks, if you want to ask your questions live, please, raise your hand, and you guys can unmute yourself and ask your questions. The first one is from Renato. He's asking how to control projects without preventing them. Might be one of the biggest PMO challenge, right? I believe what he wants to say here is that how can you provide oversight to projects without delaying them or introducing too much red tape on them? So what would be your take on that, Paulo?
Of course, projects are about deliverables, right? So as a project manager, you need to make sure that your project will deliver what it's supposed to deliver. And I can say one of the things that you need to control is the financial piece as well. So you have your schedule, you have to follow a schedule, deliver as planned. And in my experience, the financial piece is the one that takes more time to report on. So I would say the best practice will be to have your financial system, your ERP, connected to your project management system somehow. So you take out that burden from the project managers to track the financial piece, which is time-consuming and boring. Other than that, just follow the plan. I think if you are lucky to have a project management tool to support you, it makes the reporting way easier because the data is already there. It's just a matter of extracting the data.
He said he's a new PMO CP certified professional, and he noticed that the PMO Flywheel follows a more sequential waterfall structure, and he's asking how this waterfall structure is aligned with the PMI push for agility. And I have comments about that, but I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I would say my understanding is that when you talk about the PMO Flywheel, is a different context than a project. The PMO is a structure to support project managers and to support executives to make decisions. So they are different. PMI is pushing for agility in projects, in programs. It may come to the PMO realm. I don't know. The Flywheel is the first version, is version 1. It can be improved 100%, and it will be improved as all the standards from PMI. It will always be open for comments. We will always have volunteers helping us to improve the Flywheel. And maybe it evolves to something agile. But right now, I would say the focus on the PMO Flywheel is to help you to build a PMO structure, which is different than delivering a project, for example.
Yeah, and that's well said, Paulo. One thing that I would add is that I don't know exactly when or which version of the PMO Practice Guide Niall used for his certification, but the previous version, right, the first version of the PMO value ring, I think it didn't talk too much about agility, but this new version, there is a whole section about the agile mindset, right, and there are things about introducing quick wins instead of the big bang approach. So I think there is a lot of good direction in the PMO Practice Guide for you to follow the flywheel, but with that agile mindset that you don't need to plan the big thing. You can just introduce quick wins, right? That will help the business to understand the value that the PMO is bringing. So take a look at that, Niall, but it's a great question.
Yeah, not you don't need to have the perfect PMO right away, right? The idea of being agile here is like, okay, identify 1, 2, 3 services that you can deliver right now that will give you a lot of value and start with them. Run the entire flywheel and go back and run again and run.
But we are getting to the end of our conversation here, so I want to thank you again. Any final words, Paulo? Anything that you want to highlight to our friends here before we adjourn for today?
I actually have a question to Mark and Andres. Is it okay if I share your emails with this group? Any questions? Any other comments? If you want to join us or participate with this, it's very exciting challenge. Send us email, and we're more than happy then talk to you about PMO.
So thank you so much, Paulo. Once again, thank you, Mike, for helping me here with the, answer some questions and share the links. I truly appreciate the support. Thanks everyone for making the time to join us on this Friday morning or Friday afternoon, or maybe Friday evening for some of you. I truly appreciate. Keep joining us for future webinars as well. We always have these monthly touch points with PMO leaders, right? With people who are very active in the PMO space, because this is meant to be a space for PMO leaders to exchange ideas, exchange solutions as well. So keep following us, and we'll have another exciting webinar in June. So I'll be sharing more details on that in our LinkedIn page. But I appreciate your time today. Thanks again, Paulo. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everyone. And have a lovely weekend.
And actually, Bruno, we'll get you as a volunteer as well in the future. Be prepared. You'll be part of the
Okay. Always happy to help, Paul. Always happy to help. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Have a great day. I'm going to adjourn the call now. So thank you.